So as a general slide here, my topic would be centered in these subheadings. Basically, I would like to stress upon crop area estimation and production forecast, then followed by horticulture crop area estimation, then agriculture drought assessment and monitoring, then how this remote sensing as a tool in our agriculture, we can use it in carrying out various geospatial applications, including the pest and disease detection and forecasting. So as you know that this standard graph of spectral reflectance characteristics of vegetation, you know, when we study this entire spectrum from 400 to 2500 wavelength in terms of nanometers, so we know that in the visible spectrum, due to chlorophyll absorption in the up to 500 and post 600 we have dips, and because of this leaf pigment and because of the presence of chlorophyll we have a peak here, and because of the intercellular spaces and the cell structure itself of a leaf, as well as the canopy architecture, we have a very high reflectance in the near infrared region, and the spectral absorption features here that we have because of the water content. So these are some of the characteristics of a typical vegetation, and based on the changes in these standard spectral characteristics, we understand then whether the health of the crop, then its condition, and utilizing the temporal characteristics of these curves, we determine various the crop health and crop identification from optical data. Further to this, I would also touch upon the use of microwave data in crop area estimation, and I would also like to introduce you to the hyperspectral applications as to how beautifully and we can go for advanced studies of geospatial applications in agriculture. So this is a old slide, don't mind. Then here what has happened is I just wanted to show you what are all the information that we need, and how best are these sources of that come from geospatial data sets.
Sorry to
and
interrupt,
wherein
sir.
we can address. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, can you just switch on your video also? We need to see you also while presenting.
I thought of saving the bandwidth if it goes down, Burger. Okay. Hopefully my video is available now.
Yeah, your video is available. The slides also.
Slide has come, ma'am?
No.
It has come, ma'am?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So this just a old slide. I just wanted to tell you that what are all the information that are needed in agriculture and their possible sources. Like for weather forecast, what we need, and we do have the IMD, AWS, and from the satellite source inside a series of satellite data sets through which we can forecast the weather, and the initial soil moisture from the passive microwave remote sensing data sets. We have soil moisture product at coarser resolutions, then the actual rainfall that we determine integrating both the IMD, AWS, as well as the inside data products. Further to this, we also start remote sensing once this spectral emergence comes here. Then crop detection will happen with the various optical as well as microwave data products. So optical data sets are of extreme use when we have a cloud-free environment, and as and when the cloud starts coming in, and optical data will be of limited use, wherein we can make use of these microwave data products in identifying these crops under such circumstances. Further, when we have temporal data sets and I'll come in detail in the further slides. I'll just brief you here is when we have multispectral data, so we can develop the indices and take that temporal data along the crop, and we can determine the health and such characteristics. And the presence of hyperspectral data helps us in identifying these things in a much better way, and also higher resolution data plus the hyperspectral data would help us in better detection of pest and disease. So in these lines, I would like to present this topic. And the first and foremost is crop area estimation and crop production forecast, where I would like to touch upon. So for carrying out this, the most important parameter is ground truth. So my earlier teacher used to tell remote sensing is non-sensing without ground truth. So ground truth is extremely essential, and the quality and its spatial representativeness, and when we collect these ground truth information about the crops that are grown, not only just the target crop of our interest, but also the competing crops in the surrounding regions with statistical which are statistically significant as compared to that of the target crop. So this will help in better identification of any crop of our interest. And most preferably, if with the availability of a very good apps in open source, if we can polygonize these ground truth information, that would be of much help, and it will improve in our classification accuracy using these geospatial data products. So first and prerequisite is our good ground truth data collection. And once these data sets are collected, so you can see in some of the apps where we have taken the photographs for groundnut. So we can see groundnut in varied stages. So within the same district. So we will have to have these ground truth information sufficient enough to understand this, and at the same time we can also appreciate if these data sets are collected in different time periods. So you can know that some of the initial stages of crop growth, you have a lot of soil background exposure as compared to the peak vegetative phase of the crop. So when a signature gets manifested in these initial days, so the manifestation of the crop signature would also have a soil background into consideration. So that thing we have to keep in mind while we are analyzing the data as to what are all these signatures and what all components they consist of. With different crops they vary, and so such understanding of the signatures, once these ground truth points are overlaid onto the satellite images, are essential in understanding the spectral signature of crops. And for example, here I have shown you in this slide various crops are there, like paddy is there, cotton, red gram, sugarcane. And once these things are overlaid onto the image, we can extract the respective spectral reflectance of the crop. So I am not telling the pre-processing component of image. I am telling that the satellite data is downloaded, it is corrected for its atmospheric effects, then either single day data or multi-day data are corrected for are corrected, and they are brought into surface reflectance so that they can be intercompared across time. So once this initial pre-processing happens, then we finish the ground truth information, we bring this and overlay onto the satellite data products, and we study the signature of these different crops as to what is their reflectance, and how they are varying temporally, and what is the time period during which we can separate these signatures in a much better way. So the signature separability between the crops are studied, and once that is done, that particular time window is chosen. If we have limited data with us, or if we have more data sets with us, we can go in for more number of seeds. Generally 3 to 4 data would be enough in identifying the crops with a greater accuracy, and especially in optical data. So but this much of data sets in Kharif season is limited. So in the further slides, I'll tell you how we address that issue as well. So once these data sets are taken, the spectral separability are assessed, and then we go in for classification of these crops. So here is a slide where I have shown you for one district of Karnataka state, the ground truth information is overlaid onto the image, and these spectral signatures are studied, and then using those spectral signatures we classify using the machine learning algorithm. So then we keep certain independent ground truths separately for assessing the accuracy of these estimates, and then we carry out the accuracy assessment and say that with this much of accuracy we are able to address and identify the crop of our interest. So this is the first stage wherein and the one more major advantage is here we get the information of the crop sown area prior to harvest of within the season itself. So that is the advantage as compared to the traditional methods that are being followed. And Next component, as because of the limited time I have, so I'm rushing through the slides. So the another component is when we know that the optical data have limited applicability in the monsoon season, so we can make use of the microwave data for its potential to penetrate through the clouds and rain. So we have active microwave satellite data products from our RESAT from ISRO, then Canadian Space Agency RADARSAT. Then we also have Sentinel data products as well. So these data sets are all whether day night operation have the day night operation capability. So that advantage we can make use for better crop discrimination in the Kharif season, and the initial stages they can directly be used also for high resolution soil moisture estimation, and further utilizing these data products of temporal as well as the polarimetric information, we can retrieve the canopy parameters. So I would like to here show you one or two use cases wherein we have identified rice crop, and that has been operationalized, and the methodology has been transferred to the user agency in the Ministry of Agriculture, wherein a new center has come up called Malanobis National Crop Forecast Center. They do operationally the area and production forecast for the entire nation for several crops. So some of the examples are in the subsequent slides. So here you can see we have a multi-date synthetic aperture radar data set for the Kharif season. So you can know that once before transplanting rice, so intercultural operation happens, and the plots are high, so we have a higher backscatter in the initial phases. So the graph here in the right hand side, the top right hand side, you can see that a higher backscatter is there. So as and when water stands after the intercultural operations, everything happens, so the backscatter reduces, and that is clearly manifested here. You can see a lot of because of reducing backscatter, you can see the black patches here in the agriculture fields. And once this transplanting happens, and post transplanting and was and when the crop keeps growing, we can see that there is an increase in backscatter again. So this is a typical backscatter characteristic of rice crop. So this information, and when we have the ground truth information, when we know the sowing date, so when we incorporate this ground truth information onto the satellite data, we can very efficiently estimate the area of a particular of rice crop especially. And once the cropped area is known, our next task would be to identify the crop production. So this is another example apart from rice. In the previous slide I have shown you here for small region of Davangere district of Karnataka here, where we have used radasat data for identifying maize crop here, and 3-day data sets were used here in identifying the crop area estimation for maize crop, and we had a accuracy of somewhere around 86%, I think. So which we tried and repeated it for 2 years, and it gave a consistent results. And we have seen these consistent results in such crops where the crop is dominant, and when there is lot of heterogeneity and similar phenotypically similar crops grown side by side, these crops, so that efficiency has come down, and wherein few more advanced techniques might be required in improving the efficiency under such circumstances. So this is another example where we have optical data in the Rabi season for wheat crop identification using temporal AVIM datasets. So here we can see then before sowing of the crop, how the fields are seen in the false color composite of an image in the November 2nd. So later on, as and when the crop, the spectral emergence starts and crops start growing. So the greenness increases as and when the greenness increases, which is manifested as red tone in the false color composite. So the tonal red tone increases in the images, and it would be maximum at the peak vegetative stage. And as and when the crop approaches senescence, you can find that these red tone in the false color composite comes down. So this information, and this particular spectral reflectance characteristics, so it will be different for different crops, and having that information and incorporating that information via ground truth onto these imageries with sufficient ground truth would help us in classifying multiple crops in the same region. So this is an example for national wheat area estimation, wherein temporal data sets of advanced web sensor are used, and area estimates are made. And then once these area estimations are made, this is a slide taken from MNCFC. So what pre-sowing we estimate the production forecast through econometric methods, and then the agrometeorological information are added to that, and on a state-wise early season assessments are made. Then further to this agrometeorological information, field observations are added, and we give out mid-season estimates, and apart from the field observations, remote sensing data sets also gets added here from mid-season, pre-harvest, and revised forecast estimates. So this is how the forecasting of agriculture output is made, incorporating both space agrometeorological information and as well as the land-based observations. So this slide, madam, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. 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 So this slide shows on the same line where we have multi-date AVIFs through which we come out with the area estimate, and we incorporate the agromet information as well as for coming out with the production forecast. Likewise, there are several methods wherein we can come out with production forecast, which I'll tell you. So another recent method what we wanted is to come out with a spatial uh, crop production forecast. So what we did was we have we collaborated with the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Dr. Paldivilan sir and his team, and worked on developing a spatial production forecast, and the tool should be open source, and that can be used for multiple crops. So on those lines, we took the DSAT, and we made a tool in QGIS, and that we are finalizing and updating it so that it become more user friendly, and it can be added for multiple crops. So this is one of the example here for Perambulur district what we have shown, that we can incorporate the satellite data information in terms of area, and that area map can further be added as a layer into this specialized DSAT. And to this DSAT information on the sowing date, then the management practices as a text file is added for multiple locations. And next is the soil information, which is a special input, and also the weather information, which is again a geospatial input incorporated into this model. And this model, as you all know the DSAT runs on a daily time step interval, works on these inputs provided and gives us the spatial yield map. And this was further validated with the crop cutting experiment, and the accuracies were found to be statistically significant that can be operationalized for crops that are having dominant for a dominant varieties, because we have to calibrate this for dominant varieties now. So or else with so many varieties, those calibration coefficients are not there. So for dominant crop varieties, what we have seen, it is working very good. And further it has to be tested in the multi locations in and so that we can release this onto the public forum. The next component after the production estimation is the cropping system analysis. So as I have briefed you about the crop area information, so when we make this crop area information for Kharif, Rabi and summer season, so these as a geospatial layers have a unique advantage of being blended, and all the three, and we can come out with the cropping pattern or crop rotation that is happening. And such studies have been made, and here are some of the examples from our colleagues from various ISRO centers. They have made the cropping pattern and crop rotation map. So in the right hand side we can see for entire West Bengal, and the left hand side here for entire Indo-Gangetic plains. So such kind of cropping pattern and crop rotation information can be made using this geospatial data products of temporal in nature. So the third component which I wanted to tell you is on the horticulture crop area information. So horticulture crops, yes, they do significantly contribute in our GDP, and they are very much important. And to increase these to know these how much area these cropped area are in spatially spread out, and how we can increase these cropped areas and find out the area suitable for that. And further in the later, which still in R&D, and to know the age groups. So such kind of information, and also geospatial data also has a unique advantage of knowing the area that is freshly planted under these horticulture fruits and plantation crops. Like for example, if an officer goes there and inspects, collects a GPS information and brings it back, and visualizes it as a geospatial information, he can know the areas that have been newly planted. So in that way, the older orchards which already have its characteristic spectral signature, followed by the newly planted ones, can be used, and they can prioritize us in their departmental activities. So this is one of the examples what we have mapped for rubber, coffee, tea, for various commercial plantations for different boards. So likewise, we had a Chaman project, so national level fruit crop mapping for the major three crops for mango, grapes, and citrus. So those spectral signatures, and after being mapped, how they are seen are shown here. So followed by coconut, areca and cashew nut being mapped digitally, that have been represented here. So this generally happened like in the similar fashion, like I told you how we can classify the cropped area maps for agriculture. So we also take the ground information for this, overlay onto the satellite data products. And the advantage here is since these typically these plantations and crops are perennial in nature, we can select the time wherein we have a cloud free data sets, and at the same time also make use of the high resolution data also, and map this in a much larger scale. And an example here is is shown here for the crops that have been mentioned, which are mapped for both Karnataka and Tamil Nadu here. And the same information you can visualize onto our NRSA's Bhuvan platform in the Chaman web page. So you can see the areas that are mapped, and you can take this as a WMS layer in QGIS and use it for your further analysis. And further, some of the information that we have collected on the location of mandis, so wherein the produce come, so those things have also been digitally mapped for few of the states. So in this slide, I just wanted to show you the advantage of remote sensing. So we can see that from sowing to harvest, the temporal information that we get, in terms of the spectral reflectance, and these spectral reflectance, when they are converted into their respective vegetation indices, they give a unique information of the crop phenology, then crop condition, and these informations can be used in various applications in the agriculture. One is area estimation, another one is crop condition assessment, disaster management, then developing the geophysical products like we can go for leaf area index, then several such things. Then we can also estimate the net primary productivity, all such components, utilizing these data products spatially for the entire region. Just for that information I showed you here. And likewise, you can also appreciate when we have a temporal data, you can know this is just for one irrigation basin I have shown you here. So how, especially in the Kharif Rabi season, for optical data from sowing to harvest, you can see the gradual increase here as and when the water starts getting into these regions. So you can see the irrigation supplies have started, and the tonal changes you can see from here, brighter to darker tonal changes. And once the field preparation and transplanting happens, you can see the redness that is slowly getting started, and as and when the crop further progresses, you can see the increase in redness, and slowly when entire area gets transplanted and the spectral emergence happens, and as the tillering stage and a peak vegetative stage happens, you can see the maximum redness shown. And this information can be used for various applications, not just crop mapping, but also it will help us, once the crop is mapped, what is the irrigation water requirement, and how these canals can use this information in effectively utilizing the scarce water resources. So such informations can be made out of it. And further, crop cutting experiments can also be scientifically devised, incorporating these data set information. And this is just an example where I have shown you that how the crop cutting experiments are identified, and once those geographic locations are mapped, how they are seen onto these images, and they act as a permanent record as well. And they will also act in minimizing the number of crop cutting experiments required, and improving the efficiency and economics in carrying out all these procedures. So this particular slide I just wanted to show you on the entire component of National Agriculture Drought Assessment and Monitoring System that we developed before this technology got transferred to MNCFC from us. Then what happened is we generally collect the temporal satellite data products along with the associated meteorological data, and then we process it, these data sets, analyze them on a 15 daily interval, and see especially when we talk about vegetation index, NDVI. So its NDVI is a spectral response during this particular week vis-a-vis or fortnight vis-a-vis the previous 2-year normal data sets. So we assume that in these 2 years there has not been any cropping system change that has happened in the fields, So that with that assumption, and just see the change in the deviation in these vegetation in this, and these are continuously monitored throughout the cropping system. Likewise, the index is sensitive to water, so they are also monitored, and these indices along with the spatial soil water balance model being run, incorporating the rainfall information that we get from both the IMD AWS sites as well as the spatial rainfall estimates that we have. So these are integrated, and to know the soil moisture as well as and when these three information NDVI, NDWI, soil moisture informations are integrated, so we can come out with a identify a region which is healthy, which has soil moisture deficit, wherein associated with the changes in the NDVI anomalies as well as NDWI anomalies, and all these when they are integrated into a matrix, and during the peak vegetative and post peak vegetative stage, we will be in a position to identify the areas that are affected by drought, and with various severities, and these things are integrated, and they are report is generated on a monthly interval within the cropping season, and were being disseminated to the respective relief commissioners, and drought was and this was being helpful in carrying out the drought declaration procedures upon further verifying them on ground. So once this technology got matured, it got transferred to MNCFC, wherein for in the year somewhere around 2011 and 12, and later further improvements are happening in this, because a lot of from qualitative to quantifying this agricultural drought is a very long process, and a lot of improvements keep happening, and several such improvements have happened, and both in Kharif drought assessment and Rabi drought assessment, and in Rabi drought assessment incorporating the irrigated areas as well as the irrigation source, various irrigation sources for irrigation. So such in incorporating such information further helps in assessing the drought monitoring, and its accurate drought declaration. So this is what I just wanted to say in a slide for drought. And further, we also have in our country unseasonal rains, and they play havoc for farmers, and timely, accurately, and precisely identifying the areas that have been affected is of paramount importance. And here again, the remote sensing data sets like the index sensitive to water or vegetation vigor. So these can be used, and with the high resolution temporal data products that are now available, we can very effectively use them in identifying cadastral level area that have been affected by such kind of unseasonal rains or other such natural disasters. So this is another slide where you can see that pre-flood and post-flood effect. So this is from microwave data. So here what happens, so we, as I had earlier explained, we have seen that because of water standing on the field, a lot of backscatter gets reduced, and that is manifested as a dark pixel, dark tone in the image in the left hand side here. So as compared to the pre-flood region where the backscatter was both manifestation of the background standing water and rice crop that is above that. So a bright backscatter is shown here in the pre-flood region, and in the flooded region we have the uh, inundated areas would be there, and those are manifested here. So we can know the areas during flood that have been affected by, and when we overlay the cropped area onto that, so we can also know the area that has cropped area that has been inundated with water. And if we have temporal data sets available, then we can also know the period for which this area has been inundated with water, and based on the crop area information, we can know the whether that particular crop would be affected and to what magnitude. For example, if sugarcane is recently transplanted or recently planted, and if water stays over that for a longer period of time, the entire crop gets damaged as compared to the healthy vegetative stage of paddy. So in that way, it would help the decision makers to assess the crop damage, and also we also can use this information in the health crop insurance. So this is another slide where you can see that how much of area that is inundated with water after classification. The lower images, you can see that one with the blue tone, the areas that are inundated with water as compared to the pre-flood stage. So likewise, in remote sensing applications, there are various applications, and so a few of the applications I would like to touch upon here. And the heart of agriculture is accurately identifying the evapotranspiration. So remote sensing has a unique way and unique advantage in knowing the evapotranspiration at a regional scale. So there are various models, energy balance based models, wherein we integrate both the information of remote sensing optical data, the thermal data, then so these data sets are integrated, and we can develop there are various models as such, like we have surface energy balance equation, and Alexi, Disalexi, metric, Sebal, then Presley-Taylor method. So various such energy balance methods with which we can know the actual evapotranspiration that is happening, and this evapotranspiration can be assessed, and some of the examples I've shown you here, monthly average 80 products that we have generated, and I'll also tell you the history of this as well. Then before that, we need this evapotranspiration in various water accounting procedures. Then we can evaluate the performance of irrigation projects. Then we can know the stream flow that is happening. Then water productivity for crops can be studied using this. Likewise, they have a pivotal role in drought studies when these data sets are incorporated, and they can be used as a very good inputs for water balance models. So when such information is there, we can use this, and we can know which are all the areas which have a high evapotranspiration that is happening, and which crop that is there, and so many other applications out of it. So this slide is made from our ongoing National Hydrology Project on evapotranspiration, where wherein we also have established a few flux tower stations where through which we collect the actual evapotranspiration from ground using the sensors installed. So one of such flux tower is installed at Tindivanam, ORS Tindivanam of TNAU. We have collaborated again with the remote sensing and GIS department of WTC. So through using this, we have validated this evapotranspiration, remote sensing based evapotranspiration estimates, and these data sets, you now it is available both on a weekly basis, monthly basis, as well as seasonal basis at 750 meter resolution from 2019 till date, free for download and use. And this is a very good opportunity for students and researchers to make use of these data sets and use it in their research applications. So likewise, we can know the areas, especially post Kharif rice. Many of the areas uh, gets are left fallow, and such areas were identified, and incorporating various other geospatial products like the soil information, available water content, so then monsoon information, then the rainfall, then the geospatial data that has been developed in incorporating the AWS data for temperature and rainfall. So these data sets can be integrated, and we can know the areas that are suitable for taking up legumes. So it has been the project from our center in RSC in collaboration with ICRISAT was happened, and areas that are suitable for legumes were identified. So both for cool season and warm season, and that have been depicted in this slide. So likewise, both as an R&D, as an operational work, as a student research, or research wherein research and operationally we can identify the areas that are suitable for taking up crops more which has more productivity in it, and such information, when it is sensitized through the government departments, will help us in realizing the production potentials of crop, and also help us in more scientifically growing crops in their suitable places, as well as help us in sustainably utilizing the scarce natural resources that we have. Another work that we are carrying out is using the advanced image processing techniques, using deep learning methods in identifying the various agroforestry regions. So a few of the pilot studies we have carried out, and the methods we have standardized, and that is a step towards automated agroforestry regions nationwide or regional wide. So that is being carried out by us. So these are some of the examples what we can do in remote sensing. Likewise, an ultimate aim would be is to know farmers field wise what is the crop grown, and an advisory services to him, and suggest him any alternate land use that he can take up. At the same time, provide him the citizen centric services along with the crop insurance, all through centrally managed through a geospatial database, as well as the integrating that with the state department's database would help the farmers realize their field specific requirements, and get timely input and help when such geospatial technologies are integrated, improving the e-governance implementation and its monitoring at farm level. So therefore, this synergistic use of these geospatial and location services in governance is extremely important. And once that is realized at a regional or national level, would go a very long way in realizing the production potential, as well as the betterment of the livelihood of farmers. So coming away from some of the applications onto some of the research applications in remote sensing in agriculture. So hyperspectral remote sensing. So all this time I have been telling you about the multispectral data and microwave data applications. So multispectral data, they are discrete bands centered in with broadband centered at different wavelengths, as compared to the narrow contiguous bands of hyperspectral data sets. So due to which they have the ability to detect subtle spectral features, and so these are some of the advantages. And right now we do have satellite data products like Nmap. We have Everest data sets that are all these are free to be downloaded, but at a coarser resolution. Still, they have lot of potential in being used for agricultural applications, and lot of research both in qualitative as well as quantitative analysis in agriculture domain is there in this. So we know that you can see the lower has a slide here. So because of the discrete broadbands of the multispectral data sets, either Landsat or MODIS or Sentinel or AWIFS, you can see that the spectral curves are quite smooth, as and they are not showing us the subtle changes in the spectral characteristics of different crops of interest, as compared to the spectra that is drawn from the average or the laboratory spectra. So you can see them contiguous spectrum, and they are showing us the typical these signatures of a particular crop of any interest. So this is the spectra that I have collected. So you can see through a handheld spectroradiometer, and you can see here for vegetation and soil. So because of the presence of chlorophyll, then leaf architecture, then and so we can see the changes in the spectra as compared to the soil, where we do not have any chlorophyll. So there is no dip here in the red region, as well as you can see that clear what we have seen in the text now, like this, these different spectra of crop. And now when the same spectroradiometer is used, there is some of the photographs just I wanted to show how these spectroradiometers are used outside where in the field, so that we can collect the spectral signatures in a more scientific way with so some of the examples which I have collected from literature here. And these data sets can be used for better and precise field crop description. Then they can be used for various phenological studies. Then we can know the changes that are happening due to the red edge. Then the nitrogen content of the canopy can be studied. Likewise, various pigments of the canopy can be studied. The plants, whether they are suffering from abiotic and biotic stresses. So such information can be studied using these data products. And see, when we see this, just a couple of slides I have put here just for you to see and appreciate how these hyperspectral data sets, once the observations are collected, see these are copy and field bin, the similarly looking crops, but when the spectra is collected, you can see the changes in the spectra. So that when analyzed, we can know the bands that are unique to these particular crops, and those bands can be then selected, and for the entire satellite data, these crops can be identified. So when these spectral libraries are generated and sufficient ground truth informations are collected. So this is again another slide that is showing the various spectra for castor, groundnut, and red gram. You can see the changes here because of the crop characteristics. You can see the increase in the blue tone with a different diet from December to January. So in that way, we can also know the irrigation supply extent. And with the availability of high resolution data products, we can monitor the irrigation infrastructure that is getting developed. So such information can be seen, whether the irrigation infrastructure when development activities are happening, where that block is there, where that development has not happened. So all such information can be studied, collected. See here, canal is there, but in this region, so it needs to be constructed. So how much of the development area has happened? So such things can be very nicely, very accurately determined. So here you can see the bridge, which is not there here, like example I'm telling. So likewise, when these data sets are incorporated into the geospatial domain, so we can we can use them for various applications. So one of such application in the Jal Shakti Abhiyan of Ministry of Jal Shakti is identifying what are all the research structures that have been developed. So but where all these previously developed research structures are there, where they need to be developed, what are all the possibilities of developing, and such things can be made here. So this in couple of slides I'll make you still clear how best these geospatial data products can be used. Like for example, we have a digital elevation model created, and that digital elevation model, then we can use it for a drainage network, and then water body can be identified using the other data sets. Then likewise the data sets can be used for land use land cover preparation, geomorphology, slope, then soil map information. Once the geospatial soil data is collected, sets are there. So these data sets, and also rainfall lithology. So when these data sets are integrated, so we can develop we can identify the areas wherein we can construct these check dams, nala bunds, then recharge pits, etc., and more scientifically. And you can then once overlaid onto this village map, example I am showing you like this, so you can appreciate how these recharge structures, and then once such recharge structures come up, so they can be put onto for the entire study region, and can be transferred to the implementing agencies, and those implementing agencies can use them in developing various research structures. So this is one of the examples from our Karnataka state, wherein they have made such thing for entire Karnataka, one for one of the selected district I have shown you here, the existing lakes. And we can also prioritize the lakes based on the various watershed prioritization parameters as to which lakes needs to be rejuvenated, which lakes has what kind of quality parameters in them, and where exactly we can go for constructing of various water resources structures. So this is one example. And another example of where we can use this remote sensing data is understanding the phenological profile of so this phenological profiles have been made using temporal MODIS data sets for utilizing almost around 10-year data products. So you can see that using the enhanced vegetation index product, which is available at 250 meters on 16 daily interval. For this particularly is for one district region wherein we had double crop kharif, sugarcane, banana deciduous forest near Bellary. So we can know how the double crop happens, and how that is manifested in terms of phenological profile, and what is the length of growing period under this. All such things, phenological indices can be studied out of it. And when it is a late kharif crop, so what is the how it is manifested spectrally, and how that can be differentiated from the managed crops like sugarcane and banana, and how they further can be differentiated from deciduous crops phenological profile. So in the deciduous crop phenological profile, you can see as and when the leaves gets dried and fall, so we have a decrease in the enhanced vegetation index, followed by once the flush of fresh leaves comes, these the spectral response increases, as and it is manifested in the spectral profile here as shown. So likewise, the another example of a remote sensing application is utilizing these geospatial data sets and understanding the climate, what has happening. So the trend that has been happening in the with either it is in terms of rainfall, rainy days, then temperature. Then when we talk about remote vegetation index, so what is the trend that is happening in the entire region. So since these climate data coarser in nature, so we can study on a regional ways. So where exactly what trend is happening. So when this thin slope Bayesian slope is made for rainfall and rainy days, we can see this is one of the research of my colleague, which is published in Meteorological Application 2013. So we can see that the rainfall, there is a significant decrease in rainfall in some of the regions that have I'm showing it to you through my cursor. So likewise, we also have a significant increase in the rainfall in terms of mm per year of more than 4 approximately near around the regions of coastal Andhra Pradesh, then central Maharashtra. Uh, so such places, and whereas central Madhya Pradesh, we can see that there is a significant reduction in the rainfall in terms of around 3 to 4 or greater than 4 per year. So in terms of rainy days also, we also can observe here that such trends are happening, and these data sets give a lot of information as to what is the trend that have been happened in the past 30 years, And when we integrate them with the future climate data, we can know which all areas, how the trend can move, and what practices needs to be taken up, both either agronomically or in other ways, so that we can keep up the production demands of the growing production demands of our country. So these are some of the special patterns or median trend in when we did the time series analysis, again from my colleague from NRC. So here we can see that statistically significant increase in trend in both in terms of rainy days as well as rainfall during the monsoon season was found in coastal Andhra, Rayalaseema, Marathwada, South Interior, Karnataka, likewise. And similarly, when we further study, we can also see there is a significant reduction in rainy days, even over the monsoon months. Our season was observed in the northern central regions of India, covering Punjab, Haryana, West and Eastern Uttar Pradesh. So such trends are observed, and such trends, when we study deeply, give lot of insights as to what is happening and what needs to be done in keeping up the production requirements of our country, both in terms of increasing the water use efficiency, the water productivity, so all such things. So this is another example again which has been published. So it's seasonality here is shown utilizing the almost around 20 plus years of data sets. So we can see the greenness shows you the positive trend, and the redness shows you the negative trend. So in terms of NDVI, so in terms of the magnitude also, you can see that increase in amplitude of the vegetation index is seen in these regions, whereas Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, such regions, we have a negative trend. So maybe that might be because of various reasons, so that we can interpret accordingly. So for that, because of time lapse, I would like to take you to one more browser wherein I can show you. These are some of the examples which I have highlighted. I can these things in further deeper studies, you can see them in one of our ISRO's EduSat program, which is available on YouTube. When you type EduSat 2004 or something like that, a lot of video lectures are there, and that can be shown. And before I conclude, I would like to share some of the websites where you can see this information for downloading. So I'll just give me a second wherein I can share that screen for you. More than the lecture, so how the students can use these data sets in their research activities. So there are a lot of data sets that are available for free, and these data sets can be used effectively in their applications in various disciplines, either it be agronomy or soil science or agrometeorology or any such disciplines. So we have from ISRO, Bhuvan is one website which I have shown you here. So wherein lot of data sets are available from Open Data Archive free for download, and even via Bhunidhi Vista. So this requires a simple registration process, and all the free data products through browse mechanism. You can browse there, select your region of interest, and download the data products, satellite data products. And likewise, some of the case studies that have been done by us are shown here in application sectors in terms of agriculture, like pest surveillance, then plantation crop maps that I was showing you. All such informations would be visible here. Likewise, for water, you have the information that I was showing you. Just one page I'll show you here on National Hydrology Project. So I was talking about evapotranspiration. So once you go to this page, evapotranspiration, you can click, and you can see that the data is available. This is for 14th of November 2023. So other regions are not shown here because cloud is there, cloud mask. So from here, if I go, for example, once I click here, so you can see that the data sets are available on daily, monthly, and fortnightly interval, and this is shown just for visualization here. And you can also download these data products at 750 meter resolution upon the simple login and registration process. I am just clicking on one pixel to show you how the analysis online you can see and visualize the entire ET on a daily basis. What is the amount of ET that is happening at 750 meter resolution for this agriculture area? So you can see the ET that is there in terms of per day, and that is one very vital information for various applications in agriculture that can be used. Right now these are some of the data products that we have kept it for free for download. So you can just click on here and go to for transpiration, and once you log in you will be granted access to download. So another component that I was telling is on just a minute. We have a flex dashboard here. So we have set up around 10 flex stations in entire India. So one of that is in Tindivanam. Once I click here, so you can know on a every 5 minutes interval, this keeps automatically updating as to what is the various micrometeorological observations that are happening. On every 5-minute interval it gets uploaded, and here in this box you have previous days daily weather information. So that information along with its carbon fluxes are getting collected, and that are being used in the collaborative studies between us and TNAU for TD1. So likewise, we have, I'll show you just a couple of more pages, please bear with me. This is another example. Once we go to thematic services here, once we go to thematic services, so we can select so various themes that are there, like for example land use, land degradation, wasteland, wasteland, so geomorphology, flood hazards, water bodies, everything. So if once I select for example land use I have of different every yearly at 250,000 scale I have for every year for entire India. So likewise at for 2005, 11 and 16 I have at 50,000 1:50,000 resolution, and I have for 2 years now 18 to 23 phase 2 6 dp. So land is land cover at 1:10,000 scale, that also is displayed here. So for example, if I click on 1:10,000 scale land use and go to Tamil Nadu here, so this particular data gets highlighted and I have to click view. It gets loaded and we can get this land use information for entire Tamil Nadu. And I also can say for example select Coimbatore, and I'll get the I'll be able to visualize this here. And this data as a WMS information can be called onto QGIS, and you can carry out your analysis with this data as background in the QGIS. So that is another one example. So likewise we have another free data portal from ISRO called MOSDAQ, wherein most of the meteorological and data products like we have for insolation, then quantitative precipitation estimates, so heavy rainfall information, lightning, monsoon, city weather, solar winds, all such informations are available here to download and use. So that data here again it requires a small uh, login procedure. So once you log in, so you will be able to download these data products. So that comes and one very interesting web page is there called Vedas in SAC Ahmedabad web page that I am showing you here. So wherein on the fly here I'll show you. Yeah, this is that particular web page. I hope it is visible. So this particular web page you can do both data visualization, and if you have the GT information like latitude and longitude, you can analyze the data on the screen itself and extract or download the CSV or Excel based information. Like for example, here I have maximum NDVI using Sentinel-1. So theme is like I have various themes here. Based on these themes, both optical data as well as SAR data sets I will have. So just an example I'm showing you is here. So between, if I want the data from say Sentinel-2, see I have this data for 5th of November for Sentinel-2 covering this many regions. So if I click here in some portion, here on the fly visualization would be there, and data analysis also would be there. Like for example, if I click here, it's taking time. Like by the time it comes, I'll show you another page. So this I was talking about EduSat web page of IIRS Dehradun. So here you will have hundreds of hours of lecture, quality lecture materials for you to learn in all the fields. So like for example, I have typed agriculture EduSat IIRS. So example I'm just showing. So you will see the information on the agricultural lectures that are there in this website. So that you can application in agriculture and crop inventory, 1 hour lecture. Likewise, various applications, both you can learn basics of remote sensing. So this is another web page within Bhuvan, wherein here you can visualize the data sets as well as download them. This is one of the example I am showing you on the net primary productivity, utilizing Modis data sets. So these data sets are again available for free, which you can download and utilize in your analysis. Finally, in the last page which I was showing is Vedas. So this is an excellent tool again for both visualization and on screen chart. It will show you the profile of various the data that you have selected, and then in the data analysis tab here, it will show give you the option to download them as Excel, CSV, and also the image that is displayed here. So based on the slowness of internet, I am unable to show you here, but that is how it takes, and this you can use it in your real-time research and come out with various results. So thanks for your patience, and if you have any doubt, you can please ask me.
Thank you so much, sir. So you have given us a complete idea about the applications of remote sensing in agriculture, and hope the students are also enlightened by your lectures, sir. But the only thing is we missed you in person. Last time you were here and you gave us a similar lecture. Okay, sir. Any doubts from student side? A lot of websites to get free data sets. I think they will also be benefited by all those data, sir. And from the websites also they'll be benefiting. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful lecture.